friends. My name is Arwen, and welcome to another online story time at the Durham County Public Library. I'm so pleased that you chose to listen to the story today. Today I have another fairy tale for you about two friends, and they have names that I had never heard before I read this fairy tale. Their names are Jorinda and Joringel. New ones. So, this is a fairy tale, and how does that begin? You're right. Once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was a witch who lived in a house in some woods, and everyone was very afraid of her. They were afraid because sometimes the witch liked to turn people into birds and keep them in cages in her house, and no one knew how to unenchant these poor people who'd been turned into birds. Now, Jorinda and Joringel were two very good friends, and they were traveling around the country on a vacation and decided to walk through these woods. But not being from the area, they did not know about the witch who lived in the woods. So they were walking along the path, because there was only one path in the woods, and they heard a noise in a bush, and both looked over to see what it was. And then, when they looked back at each other, Joringel was not looking at Jorinda. He was looking at a nightingale sitting on a branch. Somehow he knew, probably because it's a fairy tale, that was his friend and he needed to save her. But as he went over to catch the nightingale and hold her close to keep her safe, an old hand reached up and grabbed the nightingale. It was the witch. She turned Jorinda into a bird and was taking her back to her house to keep her in a cage. Why did this witch like to keep people in cages turned into birds? I do not know. You would have to ask her. That night, Joringel went and stayed in the village that was right outside the woods and asked everyone he knew how he could save his friend, and no one had an answer. That night, while he was sleeping, he dreamt of a blue flower that he had never seen before. Now, Jorinda and Joringel were amateur horticulturists, one could say. They really liked flowers, and so a flower that he had never seen, and she may have never seen, he hadn't asked because she wasn't there. That was something new. And when he woke up, Joringel thought, this dream must mean something. I bet if I find that flower, I can save my friend. That day, he went back into the woods, which everyone was very concerned about because, the witch could turn him into a bird. But he was determined to save his friend. As he walked along the one path in the woods, because there was only one path and it went straight to the witch's house, he saw the blue flower he had dreamt about. And he picked it, and because of magic, and this is a fairy tale, so there's lots of magic, he knew as soon as he picked the flower that it would help his friend. All he had to do was touch her with the flower and she would be turned into a human again. Let's hope he remembers to take her out of the cage first, because she might be too big for a bird cage once she's a human again. So, Joringel continued down the path until he saw the witch's house. He went in, and the witch stayed far away from him because she knew what the blue flower meant. Here is the trouble. Joringel went into a room, and there were so many bird cages, he didn't know how to find his friend. So he thought, I guess I can just save all of the people who've been turned into birds. And that's what he did. He went around and opened all the cages and would take the bird out, touch it with the flower, and the bird would become a person. And the people were all so grateful, and the very last bird that he found and freed was his best friend, Jorinda, and she was so happy that he had not given up and that he was there to save her. Now, here is the thing. The witch was still there, so what were they going to do? Jorinda had an idea, and they took the seeds from the flower and planted them all around the witch's house, so that when the flowers bloomed, the witch was trapped inside her house and could not get out and turn any more people into birds and keep them in cages. And that is the story of two good friends, Jorinda and Joringel. And I hope you enjoyed it. I rather did. Have a good day. Bye.